everyone. I'm Sharon Epperson, CNBC Senior Personal Finance Correspondent. Welcome to Finding Your Financial Success. You know, there are about 20 million college students across the country that are living in these uncertain times. They're adjusting to new learning environments, they're working full-time or part-time jobs, and they're planning for their futures. But there is one thing that's certain, and that is that all students need to learn how to manage their finances in order to be successful. And so today we're going to give voice to college students across the country who are here with us to ask their most pressing and personal finance questions. We have an esteemed panel that is ready with actionable answers and guidance to give to all of you. And so we're proud to partner with our colleagues at NBCU Academy today who are committed to providing education and online programming for college and university students. So let's get started. Class is now in session. And joining us, we have fantastic panelists to help to answer your questions today. First, we have Martin Cabrera. Martin Cabrera is the CEO of Cabrera Capital Markets and Capital Partners. He's a member of the CNBC Financial Wellness Council as well. And we also have Dr. Anthony Chan. Dr. Anthony Chan is a former chief global economist for JP Morgan Chase. Currently, he is the treasurer of the Skyhook Foundation, founded by basketball legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It brings educational STEM opportunities to underserved communities. So we thank you both for being here, as well as an Olympian who is in our midst, Lauryn Williams. She is a certified financial planner and founder of Worth Winning, which offers financial services to young professionals. She is also a three-time Olympic medalist and the first American woman to earn a medal in both the summer and the Winter Olympic Games. Lauryn, thank you so much for being here as well. And we have a celebrity in our virtual house today. Daymond John is joining us. You probably know him as the People's Shark on Shark Tank. And Daymond is also the CEO of the Shark Group and the founder and CEO of FUBU. He's the best-selling author of several books as well. You probably have them or read them: Rise and Grind, Power of Broke, and Power Shift. Thank you all for being here and for sharing your ideas and your insights with all of the students that we have that are coming us today with their questions and those who are listening attentively to your answers. I want to get started with our first student, and that is Margo Reed, who's studying global business at Fordham University. Margo, what is your question for us today?
Thank you so much, Sharon, and thank you to all of our panelists for joining us today. I am a proud member of the class of 2021, like many of my peers here, and I'll be graduating in a few weeks. My question is, what is your best advice for balancing the demands of adding to a savings account, contributing to a Roth IRA, and paying off student loan debt during our first few years post-grad?
Lauryn, you work with young professionals all the time. Can you start us off? Where should she begin?
Yeah, I would definitely focus, Margo, on your emergency savings to start out. That's going to be a really important part of the process to make sure that you don't end up in credit card debt. With no emergency funds and trying to focus on paying down a lot of debt or investing too soon, something happens, comes out of sight, out of mind. You're like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And you don't have that emergency fund to lean on. So get that under control. Get at least $5 grand put aside, no matter how much you're earning, so that you know you have some sort of cash cushion. And then you can start to say, okay, extra money is left over. How much do I want to invest? How much do I want to put toward paying down debt aggressively?
Lauryn, it's great that you gave an actual number, because so many people want to know what percentage they should do or how much they should do. And you gave an actual number. Why do you say start with 5,000?
I think 5,000 is a good baseline number, because when you come out of school, you're making all kinds of different levels. So, you know, you may be earning at $30,000 entry level salary, or you may come out and earn $100,000, a really great job you land right out of the gate. Ultimately, you want to have 3 times whatever your take home pay is as your emergency fund. But a baseline of 5,000 will keep you in pretty good shape should some sort of unforeseen circumstance come along.
My question is, as someone who has not followed the stock market very closely before, what's the best way to learn about and be involved in the stock market right now?
Common question, Anthony. So many people have it, and I know you have the best answer out there. What is your answer to that?
Well, first of all, I love Lauryn's response that you should start out with $5,000 as an emergency fund. But in terms of investing, I think you should be saving anywhere from 10 to 15% of your income every single month. And I think you should start out with index funds, because that is the best place to go when you're not completely sure of what you're doing. And of course, The little book of Common Sense Investing by the legendary John Bogle is a good place to start if you want to learn something about index investing. And again, over time, you are going to experience a lot of growth. 7% on average is the market rate of return, which means you're going to be doubling your money almost every 10 years. Not a bad place to be in.
Absolutely. Got to get invested. You know, Daymond, so many students out there have a part-time job, a full-time job, a side hustle, 3 side hustles. I mean, how do you figure out where to put your attention to? And is there a chance that some may be doing too much at the same time?
You know, I think the liberty that it offers you to be a student, and the freedom is you should be, you know, putting, you know, your time into a lot of different things to see what you like and what you love. You know, honestly, 80% of my staff started off as interns. They put in the time, they got out of school, they put in, and then they put in the time with us. And I noticed if they showed up before, you know, the people I was paying and stayed after, and they were Swiss Army knives, they got, you know, opportunities to be employed. Or what did they learn? They learned the business that they don't like to be in. Right? And they found other areas. So I think that as a student, you should have that liberty, because sooner or later, you're going to be somebody's parent. You're going to be somebody's husband. You're going to be somebody's wife. And you're not going to have that liberty and time to run around and do all the things you want to do to discover yourself. So I think you should be doing a lot of things in the beginning to really try to find yourself.
Thank you so much, Sharon, and howdy, panelists. Thank you guys so much for being here and taking time out of your days to be here. And thank you guys also for having me. My question for you guys is, how does a college student like myself build credit independently?
Anthony, good question there. What's your take?
Great question, Tori. And when you think about credit, think about somebody who's just getting started. If you want to learn how to ride a bicycle, you don't start by practicing on a motorcycle. You start on a bicycle, maybe with training wheels. And that, of course, means a starter credit card. A starter credit card is something that you can easily get when you're in college, because the standards for a college credit card are a little bit lower. And if you can't get that one, try something else, and that is a secured credit card. Try to make sure that you link the credit card payments to your checking account so that goes out automatically. You're not late on your payments. Also, try to make sure that your balance is never exceeding or even close to that credit limit, because credit card companies, when you're building up your credit, that's a real bad thing. Don't close out a lot of accounts, because that's another red flag. And finally, try not to open up too many accounts. So again, focus all your efforts on that first starter card and build from there, and you will be successful.
Absolutely. Paying those bills on time is like credit 101.
Thank y'all so much for being here. With so many places to look, where can we find information that we can trust to guide us when investing for the first time?
We love the investing early theme here. Martin, what resources do you think you'd recommend to Lily?
Sure. I think there's plenty of resources out there, and searching on the internet. There's Motley Fools, there's NerdWallet, Yahoo Finance as well. But I think just look into your local periodicals. I think the Wall Street Journal and the CNBC, just putting it on, you're going to learn so much from about different companies and different industries. But I think those are some of the tools that you can get started with that will kind of break it down in layman's terms as well. I know there's a lot of financial websites now that will kind of explain some of the terminology in finance, so it doesn't feel so complicated and that it's unattainable. But it allows you to kind of get a good grasp of where you can start investing, and so that you feel comfortable in those investments as well, that you're not taking on too much risk at an early age. But, you know, it is good to just start early. And once you do that and you start investing those first initial dollars, you're going to get a lot more comfortable. You're going to do a lot more research, and it's going to be like reading the paper every day, and you're going to be following those investments. And that's probably the most difficult thing to do, is just getting started.
Absolutely. I think another great place to check, Martin, would be to go to CNBC.com and CNBC.com's Invest in You, Ready, Set, Grow. That is a whole initiative that we have going on that is about financial wellness and helping you get started early in investing. And there's also an 8-part learning series that you can sign up for. You'll get newsletters and bonus newsletters about how to tackle what you're facing right now, particularly during this pandemic. You can get that Money 101 Invest in You newsletter as well by going to CNBC.com/Money101. So those are 2 other sources that, in addition to all the great ones that Martin mentioned, that you may want to check out. So thank you so much for that question.
My question to you all is, reflecting on your own experience, what advice would you give to your younger self when you were first starting your finance journey?
That is a great question, I think, for all of our panelists. Can I start with you, Anthony, on that one?
I think the best advice that you have to give yourself is to really pursue your passion, because when you enjoy something, you're going to be very excited about pursuing it. And of course, if it's career linked also, then it's going to be a win-win situation. But first go with your passion and then look to see what the demands are for that passion. Because I think in the long run, if you pursue that, you're going to be a winner.
Absolutely. Daymond, what would you say?
Yeah, I think that being aware that you need to know how the tool of money works is extremely important, because I got to tell you, I wasn't smart enough as these young people right here, because I took off that 1 year before going from high school to college, and that became forever. And I wasn't smart enough to invest in my future. So I think understanding financial intelligence and constantly asking yourself, how does money work, is critical, because as we opened up, Sharon, you're always going to need to understand how money works. And our school system does not teach you about this stuff. They should be teaching financial intelligence when you are, in the 3rd or 4th grade, like they teach shop. I'm not sure if anybody here is going to ever need to build a birdhouse, but we're all going to need to balance a checkbook some way or another. So constantly understanding how money works is extremely, extremely important. And credit, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what's so interesting when you think about financial literacy. A lot of research out there shows people know a lot about borrowing. They know a lot about, some about saving, but they don't know hardly anything about credit and risk and what that means for your money. So it's important to really get this education. And I agree with you, in the schools and as early as possible is really important. Lauryn, when you think back to your younger self, first of all, did you think you were going to be an Olympian? But also, what did you think about money, and what has influenced you going forward?
Yeah, honestly had no idea that I would become an Olympian. And I think it speaks to life throwing us all kinds of curveballs. Definitely didn't know I would do it in track and field, and 3,000% didn't know I would do it in bobsled. So what I would say to my younger self, though, is ask more questions. Ask all the questions. There's a cliche saying that there are no dumb questions, and it is so true. You cannot ask enough questions. You cannot ask enough questions of everyone around you, and also outside of the circle that you have immediately available to you. Try to ask questions of the people you bump into, your university professors, the people at, where you get your coffee from. Ask questions of everyone, but don't just ask the questions. Double check the answers, because you want to gather all this information, which is going to make you more knowledgeable, but you also don't want to take everything at its face value. And that's how you truly learn things. It's like, oh, I learned about this thing that someone told me. It's really great. But then you go and you do some research on it. And you're like, okay, it doesn't sound as great as they said, but I also have this idea now because I asked the question in the first place. So ask tons of questions.
Great advice. Great advice. Martin, what would you say to your younger self?
Sharon, I just emphasize to my younger self that you got to start early. Start investing, and whatever you have, the little amount that you have, whether it's in college, even in high school, encouraging your parents to start investing. Set aside some money. Make it a habit that every paycheck you're sending up, it may be $10 or $25 or $50, but that's something that you're going to set aside to start investing. It becomes a habit. It becomes like you're drinking water, that you're going to need it. And you're going to start researching more companies, more trends, kind of different industries. And you're also going to realize that of all the companies that you're using, you can be using and running out to get the first iPhone, the next iPhone, but you can also be investing in Apple stock. So I would encourage you to just start investing early and make it a habit. And it's going to be profound for you when you do retire.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think back to my younger self, the one thing that I wish I had then that we all have now is LinkedIn. Because like Lauryn, I think it's so important to talk to as many people as possible. And now it's so easy to do that and to connect with people on social media and find out what they have to say and ask those questions. There are no dumb questions. There are some maybe, but when it comes to the people that are speaking with you today, I think they really want to hear your questions, and you need to be following them and seeing what they're writing and what they're talking about. You'll find a lot of answers to the questions you probably have just by following them on social media. So I urge you all to do that. I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much to all of the students and the recent graduates who had so many fantastic questions, to our experts, to Martin Cabrera, who we should also mention is a member of the Latino Donor Collaborative. Thank you very much. And Dr. Anthony Chan, Daymond John, Lauryn Williams. You've had so many excellent answers to the students' questions, and you've been so generous with your time in being here with us today, and we really appreciate your insights. So thank you very much. And we really especially want to thank NBCU Academy for bringing together many of the partner schools, for having us and encouraging us to have colleges and universities, even beyond the partner schools, to join us today. And it has been a terrific experience to be with NBCU Academy and doing this event. If you want to learn more about NBCU Academy, please go to NBCUacademy.com. And if you'd like to watch some clips from today's event and learn more about many of the topics that we've been talking about, go to CNBC.com/investinYou. For CNBC, I'm Sharon Epperson, and remember to always invest in you. Thank you very much for being here.